पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तिसुदेशिकेन्द्रं द्वैपायनं सूत्रकृतं मुनीन्द्रं श्रीशङ्करं भाष्यकृतं यतीन्द्रं मद्देशिकञ्चापि नमामि वित्यै। ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्या संप्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवरहित प्रज्ञानगणः प्रत्यगर्तो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्ससुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। भीष्मद्रोण तथा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला। अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णाः खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः। पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थघण्टोत्कटं नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितं। लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयाद्भारतपङ्कजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। ओम श्री कृष्णाय परमात्मने नमः। Pranams everyone. So in the last class or in the first class we saw what is the importance of Gita, what is the greatness of Gita. Now as I said, I would be taking the chapters in a different order, but even before we start on the first sloka of Gita, there is a few classes that I would want to set up an introduction, give an introduction about human life in general, and the importance of Gita. So in this world right now there are many organisms. You would see there are many species, from insects and until humans. There are varieties of beings there, and that which gets born, they eat food, sleep, reproduce, die, it is all called as a being. We'll say being here, or otherwise we can call it as jivaha. We can call it as jivaha. Jivati iti jivaha. That which is alive is jiva. So in all these life beings that we have, we consider humans to be the most superior. Jiva is a life being. A species, we call them as Jiva Rasi. In Sanskrit, we say Jiva Rasi. So humans are a kind of Jiva Rasi. So among all Jiva Rasis, humans are said to be superior. And our Shastras also say human birth is special. Jantunam Narajanma Durlabam. Jantunam Narajanma Durlabam. Durlabam means that which is rare. Among all the births, a birth of a human being is very rare. In Tamil also we say Aridu Aridu Manidarai Pirattal Aridu. To get a human body is a rare thing. So how is this humans alone are superior? Now other Jiva Rasis also get born, they eat food, they sleep. Humans also do the same. Other Jiva Rasis reproduce and die. Humans also do the same. So on what basis humans are superior? So if we take the other things, normal things, which is eating, sleeping, dying, of course there is no difference. But only humans have the knowledge that they are humans. As in, man is self-conscious. He is a self-conscious being. Other animals do not know who they are or what they are. Human beings can go to a mirror, they can see themselves in the mirror and they are able to recognize themselves. We adjust our hair, we adjust our makeup, and we are self-conscious. Animals do not do that. They are not able to recognize themselves. They might even fight with the image, the mirror image. They are not able to recognize that it is their own image on the other side. So this is one difference, that humans are self-conscious. This is the main difference. But apart from that, humans also know what is right, what is wrong, what is truth, what is considered to be false. So those kind of discriminative power is there with humans. And therefore, so humans are considered superior among other Jiva Rasis. And this self-conscious, discriminative intelligence that humans have, with these three things, what advantage do they get? What advantage do the humans get because of this knowledge? The first advantage we have is Shashanam. Shashanam means to rule. Humans rule this world. And they rule this world not because humans are big and powerful. No, I mean many animals are bigger and stronger than the humans. But just with this intelligence, their knowledge, humans are able to rule this world. So this is the first advantage, Shashanam. The second advantage that humans have is called Rakshanam. Humans with this knowledge, we have been able to protect ourselves better than the animals. Whether it is protecting ourselves from other animals, we have developed weapons in those days to fight with those animals, or protecting ourselves from natural disasters. We construct dams, we construct houses, or to protect ourselves from diseases. Our medicinal science have improved a lot. So humans have been able to protect themselves, Rakshanam. So the first one is Shashanam, the second one is Rakshanam. Animals can also protect, but only themselves and with whatever has been naturally provided to them. With their own, whatever has been provided in their body parts. With that alone, they will be able to do it. For example, sparrows have been building their nests, homes, their nests. The sparrow that builds today, that nest is exactly the same as what the sparrow used to build 100 years ago. But for us, our houses have changed, the way we have constructed have all changed. We have been able to improve our daily life our daily standards. So, Rakshanam. The third advantage is Bhoga. Bhoga means enjoyment. 100 years ago, again, a cow was eating grass. Even now, if we have to feed a cow, we feed the grass. The same thing. Whereas for humans, we have been able to create varieties of food, with varieties of cuisine. Are we eating the same thing as what our fathers and grandfathers ate 50 years ago? No. 50, 100 years ago, idli was a special item. Today, it is a very common food. There are so many other special items that have come out. So humans use their intelligence. They have been able to create new varieties of comforts. We have created new kinds of gadgets. We have created a lot of things to make our life enjoyable, give more comfort to ourselves. So we have whatever best we could do to make these five senses. So these Pancha Jnanendriyas. If you had been attending the introduction to Vedanta classes, you would know Pancha Jnanendriyas. Basically the eyes, ears, tongue, skin and the nose. We have tried to give it new ways of actually enjoyment. And all this is possible because of our intelligence. And there are many other reasons why we can also say why humans are superior to other Jeevarasis. So, right now we can say, because of our intelligence, we have been able to rule over other beings, we have been able to protect ourselves better, and we are able to enjoy the life more than any other being, any other Jeevarasi. So, we are capable of experiencing joyful things that animals are not capable of experiencing. So we have created new ways of enjoyment. So this is the first topic. So how humans are different from animals from the positive side. Now we go to the next topic. Now because of this intellect, are humans experiencing problems or difficulties that animals do not experience? If we do a small vichara on that, if we do a small analysis on that, first and foremost, humans experience fear. Animals also fear, but their fear is limited to protecting their lives. It is only a fear of another animal killing them. But they don't have this anxiety or fear of what will happen when I become old, who will take care of me, what if I get this disease, will I get the next job, will my son study, will I be able to get my daughter married. Those kind of fears or anxieties, they do not have it. Basically, we can also say the fear of future, we can say. No animal is going to sit and worry about what will happen 15 years down the line. Or they will not think, will I die after 2 years' time? Who will take care of this family after I die? Will I have enough money and food for my old age? Will my savings cover my retirement? All these thoughts, all these anxiety or fear, we can club them together to say it insecurity. So this is called as insecurity. Humans have this insecurity. Animals do not have this insecurity. Animals also experience fear, but they also experience disease. They also experience death. But there is no insecurity in their mind. There is no anxiety about their future. It is only humans we have. Disease and death are common, but the anxiety or fear about the disease or the fear about the death, That is only for humans. And why does a human get this fear? Where does it? Because humans are self-conscious. So we are self-conscious, and therefore we have this fear of death as well. So this is the first disadvantage, insecurity. The next point is basically sorrow. Shoka. Shoka means sorrow. Remember, we are not talking about pain. Pain is physical. Pain, if I say I got a pain, it's physical. Sorrow is emotional, is mental. What I go through in my mind, that emotion is called sorrow. And this sorrow is also specific to humans because again they are self-conscious. And how can we say how sorrow? One can get fear due to this disease, and one can get sorrow because of the disease. So somebody goes through a pain of, say, a cancer patient goes through the pain of chemotherapy, but along with that we also get sorrow. Even forget it, even if we do not get the disease, the chances that it might come can also create sorrow in our mind. Or remember, another thing is death. A death of a person close to us, the death of a person, once it happens, it creates sorrow in our mind. Forget that death actually happening, even the thought that this person will not be with us in a few years' time can actually create sorrow. So animals get pain, but not this amount of sorrow. Humans get this sorrow. And we create relationships in this world. And then because of these relationships we create, we get sorrow because of that. Oh, that person said to me something, that person criticized me, he spoke to me, he spoke ill of me, he abused me, he criticized me. Or it could be brother, it could be sister, friend, neighbor, colleague, in-law, whatever it is. Anyone that somebody said about me or said to me something could create sorrow in my life. Animals don't feel any sorrow due to these things. Human mind alone experiences this. And this sorrow can be due to many reasons. As we go through Gita, we will see a lot of those things as well. So, in a nutshell, for humans, life is a mixture of both joy and sorrow. We have been able to create a lot of ways to enjoy our life. At the same time, we are also experiencing sorrow and fear and insecurity and all those things in our life as well. And when we are happy, nobody asks what needs to be done. Nobody will ask what is the solution, parihara for this being happy. Nobody will ask for it. But when we are in sorrow, the mind will be disturbed, and then people look for parihara or solution. Another thing, if you notice this, when nobody is prepared when happiness is going to hit me, and nobody is also prepared when sorrow is going to hit them also, because we don't know what is going to happen. And when I am in joy, when we are in joy, we do not think about sorrow. We do not want to think about sorrow, and because of that we are not being prepared for it when sorrow hits us. And when sorrow really hits us, we are not in a position to be prepared because it has hit us. We are not prepared, and when it has hit, even if there is a solution available, even if there is a parihara available at that moment, somebody comes and says, okay, when somebody is in deep sorrow, okay, pray to Bhagavan, chant Bhagavan Nama, do Nama Japa, the mind will not be able to follow, because the mind will be preoccupied with the worry and the sorrow. So when we are in sorrow, we are not able to do parihara. And when we are in joy, we are not preparing ourselves to be with a solution for this sorrow when it hits us. And all human beings, we suffer from this. So what is the way to come out of this solution, this situation? So only one way. Even when we are in joy, we have to ensure we don't get into sorrow. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. So one way is to say, even when I am in joy, I have to ensure I don't get into sorrow. And even if it is beyond me, even if it is beyond us and the sorrow, and in spite of everything that I do, we do get into a problem, we do get into a situation, then we should be in a position to do the right parihara. We should be in a position to take the right solution. That is intelligence. They say, if the body is to be healthy, for a physical body, doctors advise exercise, jogging, yoga, all those things. And when should this exercise be done? Should this exercise be done when we are sick or when we are healthy? When we are sick, exercise is not possible, running is not possible, jogging is not possible. So only when we are in healthy state, we should be doing this yoga, jogging, exercise and all those things. But when we are healthy, we don't do that. We laze around, we eat all kinds of food, we watch TV, we laze around, we do not exercise. And then later on, when the doctor diagnoses us with BP, sugar, cholesterol, whatever, ulcer, whatever it is, at that time we may not have the health to do these exercises. So even when we are healthy, we should take precautions to ensure we don't fall sick, or even if we fall sick, we should be in a position to prepare ourselves. We are ready to face it when it comes. The same thing, what is true for the physical body is also true for the mind. When the mind gets diseased, we are not able to do parihara. When the mind is already in a deep sorrow, or we are in a worry, we are having a lot of worries, we are not able to think of any solution. So even when our mind is reasonably healthy, we should understand this, implement things so that we should avoid the mind getting sick. And what is the primary sickness that we are talking about here? The mind sickness, the mental sickness is, the primary thing is sorrow. Shoka. And should the mind get hit by sickness, what should be done to be able to bear it? That also we should be prepared for. What can be done to be able to bear that sorrow? And again, as I said, this preparation can be done only when the mind is healthy, reasonably healthy. So when the body is healthy, when the sense organs are still functioning, when the mind and intellect are sharp, we should think about what are the problems that we will face because of old age, because of death, because of sickness or disease. What kind of sorrow? I'm not talking about what kind of physical health here, mental health. And then get ourselves prepared for that even when we are still young. Because if we are not, then old age will set in, or disease will come, and we will not be in a position to handle ourselves. And Shastras say, getting one prepared for these things at an old age is as absurd. Getting a person to prepare himself or herself for this at the old age is as absurd as when the house is on fire. When the house is on fire and this person thinks whether to dig a well for, so that he can get water to douse the fire. Just to think of how to source water when the house is already on fire. In the same manner, it is as absurd to think about solutions when we are already into problems, when we are already into old age, when we are already into disease, when we are already into sorrow. And in our scriptures there is a story for that. I would have given this story in my introduction to Vedanta classes also. The king made to rule for 5 years. So it's like there's a country. In the country there is a law that anybody can become a king. But the thing is, he will only rule for 5 years. And then after that, a new person can come in. That person will be made a king. So it's a nice arrangement, except that there is a problem. After the 5th year, this king will be taken. Okay, there is a huge river. The kingdom is covered by a river on the one side, another forest. And then this person will be taken across the river, and there is a forest on the other side, which is deep, dark forest. He will be left there. And he will be asked to lead his life afterwards there alone, and which means invariably he gets eaten up by all those wild animals, and he will have nothing to eat or cook or anything. He will just die. So not all people wanted to become king there in this country, and some people who wanted to become a king, they became kings, but they had a great life in the first year, because you get all the enjoyment, all the comforts. They enjoyed in the second as well. But as they came to the 3rd year, the fear and worry started gripping them. They were thinking about what will happen after the 5th year. So they were not involved in the day-to-day affairs of the ruling the country or the kingdom. They were stressed. They made a lot of mistakes. Their mind was elsewhere. They were getting paranoid. They were getting sleepless nights. In fact, by the 4th year, most of them were half dead. And in the 5th year, after the 5th year, however much they pleaded, they were tied, taken in a boat, thrown on the other side, and then the people will come back. They pleaded, they cried, nothing happens, no change. They would be dragged, taken in the boat, left in the forest, and the other people would return. And nobody will know what happened to them. Nobody knows what happened to them. So this is the kingdom there. Then one fine day, a man comes in and says he wants to become the king. So he became the king. The first 2 years he was good. People were watching him as to whether he is also making the same mistakes, but he seemed to be different. 3rd year happened, he didn't seem to have any stress. He seemed to be happy. He didn't seem worried. 4th year went by, nothing happened. 5th year also, nothing happened. People were really surprised. What is happening here? Either he should be completely a fool, or he thinks that he can escape but that is not going to happen. And in 2 days' time, when he will have to be expelled or taken out away from the kingdom and left to the forest, he still was not bothered. He was not worried. On the day they thought he will plead, that didn't happen as well. He did not cry. He was not afraid. In fact, he was happy. And on that day, the king got into the boat without any fuss, and he said, let's go there. So when in the boat, the people asked him as to how could he be so cool? He said, I knew even before I started my first year that I will have to go to this forest in 5 years' time. So I had prepared a plan already. So when I was a king, I had all the resources in my hands. I had the money, I had the resources, I had people, I had time. So in the first year, what I got was, I got some people on the other side. I got people to the other side. I asked them to clear a part of the forest, cut off all the trees. And then the second year, I constructed walls, moats. I created buildings, roads, fields, and I basically created the infrastructure. And in the third year, I planned on how the new setup will be. I devised what sort of governance it will have, the new country, the new kingdom, what sort of ministers, council of ministers, artisans, carpenters, builders, farmers, warriors, who and all I need. So in the fourth and fifth year, I got some of my trusted people. I allowed them to handpick some of these people from the various fields, and I had already moved them into the forest. So now they are ready to welcome me into my new kingdom. So I'm not going into this sorrowful forest now. I'm going to enter a happy country. And now I'm not a king. I'm not going to be a king for only the next 5 years. I am going to be the king forever, until my natural death. So I had already prepared, planned for my life after 5 years. So that is the intelligent king. So even when he was ruling this kingdom, he was happy. But the only thing that he didn't do was, he didn't get immersed in the joy. He didn't forget himself. He did not forget the challenge that he needs to overcome after 5 years. Basically, he did the parihara that is needed now itself. He found the solution. He was prepared for the problem. So intelligent living, as we know, is all about being prepared. We are all kings also now. Bhagavan has given us a good life, reasonably good life. We are not deep into sorrow. Or even if we think we are mistaken, because there are other people who are much deeper into sorrow. Or at least now we are not deep into sorrow. But the thing is, we will also get into old age. We may fall sick, and we don't know what sort of diseases we will have. So, and death is assured. We may fall sick or not, but death is for sure. And as we get older and we come to know one after another, people of our age die, when we hear that news, we will feel a slight fear as to when our turn will be. We'll think, when is our next? Am I going to be the next person? So that sort of anxiety, that sort of fear, what will happen to me after death? What will happen to this family after my death? Who will take care of these belongings? Who will take care of my children, grandchildren? All these questions will start coming. And as we get older, we also start thinking what sort of diseases I might get, what sort of problems I will have. Physically, we'll become weaker, definitely, as we grow older. Mentally, we will become weaker. We don't know whether our children will be with us to take care of ourselves, whether the children will behave properly. We do not know. So, an intelligent person is one who takes precautions. Precautions to not get into the problems, and even should problems come, this person is able to handle them effectively. How to handle effectively without getting affected by it. In other words, how to have a strong mind. How to have a strong mind to overcome all challenges. Only this kind of a person is an intelligent person. So the next question is how to get a strong mind. Now, our school education system, it does not teach that. It teaches us how to make money, but it doesn't teach us how to handle problems in life. The physics and the chemistry, the whatever we read, the biology, it teaches us how to make a living, but it doesn't teach us how to lead a life. And this kind of a problem that we face, it is not only for us. It has been the case for every human being in this planet, not just now, for always, forever, right from those days. Because it is the same thing that happened for Arjuna also. Arjuna in Mahabharata was an exceptionally successful person. He was exceptionally successful. He was the number one in archery. Nobody could be a better archer than him. He was the most handsome. He had a strong body. Physically extremely fit. He was wealthy, rich. His name was Dhananjaya. He was able to accumulate wealth. Wherever he went, riches came along. He had a lot of people around him all the time. He had a lot of wives also. And he was heaven returned. He was the only one who could go to heaven, one of those few who had been able to go to the heaven with his own body and come back. Not many people can claim that. So Arjuna had all the things that one can ask for. He was the most successful person on planet then. He had ticked all the boxes. But even for him, when in that war, when he encountered a difficult situation, he was not able to handle. He broke down. We will see that in the first chapter of Gita. We will see that in detail later. But from here, what we can gather is that even for us, we might have our house, wealth, position, money today. Whatever we have it today. But we don't know what kind of situation we are going to face tomorrow. Especially our mind. We don't know how our mind will be. We can't predict in 1 hour's time how my mind will be. Whether I'll be angry in 1 hour's time, whether I'll be going to be dejected, I'll be going to be sorry, I'm going to be in a sorrow state, I'm going to be happy, I don't know. So to get prepared for this, we don't have this knowledge, the details, as I said, in physics or chemistry books. It is there in our scriptures. And that is where Bhagavad Gita comes into. Bhagavad Gita is a complete text that gives the solution to all the problems that we face. It helps us to get prepared for this life. And not only is sorrow, we have other problems also. If you look at it, another thing that we humans experience is jealousy. And jealousy is very specific to humans. For example, does a cow living in hot weather conditions here or in India, does it feel jealous about a Jersey cow living in New Zealand or in Holland? No. Or does a dog which gets sold for say 50,000 rupees, does it feel jealous about another dog which gets sold for 2 lakh rupees? No, because animals are not self-conscious. Humans are, we are self-conscious, and therefore we immediately get a superiority or an inferiority complex. So shoka, jealousy, there are many emotions that we have, that we alone experience. Kama, desire, krodha, anger, lobha, the greed, madam, the pride. All these things are actually very specific to human. And Shastras calls these emotions as, together it says, this is called as Samsara. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsari. It's called Samsara. And Shastra says, get liberated from these things. Get liberated of all these emotions. And to getting liberation from these emotions, these negative emotions, is called Moksha. Moksha means liberation, freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom from samsara. What is samsara? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsari. So freedom from samsara is called moksha. And how can humans come out of this insecurity, this sorrow, this kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, this samsara? Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita contains the answer. It helps us to come out of this samsara. Problems have been there at all times, at all yugas. Only the type of problem has changed for humans. So for us, by listening to Gita, implementing the concepts of Gita, we will be able to face these situations bravely. And like that king, by actually doing this, we will be happy now, and we can also live without anxiety or fear. Even the fear of death will go away. So this is about Bhagavad Gita. Now, people also ask, why do you go to Gita class? Have you become a sannyasi? Have you, that is another question that people ask. So the answer is, we come to Gita class, or we study Gita to build a strong mind, so that I have the strength to face all the problems that life has to offer. That is the reason why we came to Gita. Then some people ask, when somebody should study Bhagavad Gita? At what age? Because some people say, oh, Gita, that should be done after retirement. Why at this young age you are studying Gita? The earlier question itself answered it. Because when should I come to Gita class? I need to come to Gita class when or I'll put a reverse question is, when do you want to come out of your fear? When do you want to come out of your sorrow? When do you want to come out of your anxiety? When do you want to come out of your insecurity? Do you want to come out now, or do you want to come out after retirement? So that is when you have to come to Bhagavad Gita. So people should come to Bhagavad Gita whenever they want to come out of fear, anger, insecurity, jealousy, pride, all those things. Next question, is it limited to any varna? As in only Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra? Is it limited to any varnas? No. Is it limited to a certain gender, only male? No, it is open to all. This Bhagavad Gita, another people think that, by reading Bhagavad Gita or by listening to Bhagavad Gita or coming to Bhagavad Gita class, one will become a sannyasi. As in, he will come out of this family life and will lead a renunciate, will lead a life of a monk. No, it will not happen. It shouldn't happen. Because let us see Gita itself. Bhagavad Gita was given by Krishna to Arjuna. Krishna was a grihastha. Arjuna was a grihastha. Both of them were householders. Both of them were not sannyasis. Both of them were young. They were not in retirement age. Both were fighting wars. So they were fit. So neither were they old, nor were they sannyasis, or neither after listening to Gita, Arjuna actually became a sannyasi. After Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna did not become a sannyasi. Arjuna fought the war. So obviously, if we listen to Gita properly, this fear will not be there. So what is Bhagavad Gita? So we know Bhagavad Gita, it comes in Mahabharata, it is given by Krishna to Arjuna. And what does Krishna give? Krishna gives, he picks up, it is not Krishna's own wisdom. It is not Krishna had created something special for Arjuna on that day. Krishna had picked up the concepts of the Vedas and gave this Upadesha. So Bhagavad Gita is also a Shastra. Shastra, because it is actually picking up things, it is only a Sarvopanishado Ghavo Dokta Gopala Nandanaha. It is the nectar of Upanishads given by Bhagavan to Arjuna. So it is a Sara, Veda Sara, Vedanta Sara is Bhagavad Gita. And Shastras are like mirror. Shastras is compared to a mirror because they will help us to know our real state selves. And if Bhagavad Gita is from Vedas, then our next vichara or topic should be, what does the Vedas say? What is the summary of this Veda? What is the Veda Saraha? That we will see in the next class. Any questions, comments so far on this? Anything, questions or comments or anything that anybody wants to say?
Balaji, one small question, very, very basic question. Can we explain the meaning of the word Shastra by itself?
Shastra...
we understand it generally only as rules and nothing more, but there is a deeper meaning to it.
So, Shasanat iti Shastram is been said, the one which is actually Trayate iti Shastram we say. Trayate, one that protects us is a Shastra. One that protects us from... So, in other words, if we follow Shastras, it will protect us. What it will protect us from? It will protect us from all the papas. It will make sure that we do not get into doing papas, which will be the cause of our sorrow. That is a quick and short meaning. Hari Om. Any other questions? Okay. Okay, if there are no more questions, we'll close today's class. But if you want to listen to the Shastras in detail, or introduction to Vedanta in terms of human values, Purusharthas and all those things, we had already gone through a series of 30 classes where we discussed all these things. Those that is available in YouTube as video links. You can go through that again. There is another meaning also, Sriram, for Shastras, one that gives commandments, one that teaches us. That is also called Shastra. So, Shastram commands us initially, and then finally it also teaches us. So, that is also that which teaches us, commands us, and thus saving us from. And Trayate means to save. So, to save us, that is why it's called as Shastra. So, it is a commandment in the initial stages, and then it is a teacher in the later stages. Just like a mother is to a kid. So, initially the mother commands the kid, because the kid does not know what is right, what is wrong. So, the mother commands the kid. So, that's in the same manner the Vedamata commands us initially. Do this, don't do this. And then later on it actually teaches us as to why we have to do this and why we should not be doing that. Okay? Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahimayishaha. Gobrahmanebhyo Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.